Good here and welcome to today's episode of Breakfast with Cody Gall. Yes, sir. So, I'm on a schedule Monday through Friday at some time during the day. And so, didn't do an episode yesterday. Even though yesterday was Veterans Day. So, I missed out on doing an episode for Veterans Day. Therefore, I'm going to play catch up and attempt to time travel and do my Veterans Day episode the day after Veterans Day. So, we're going to all just in your mind, let's do it together now. Time travel. Okay, it's yesterday, and now yesterday is today. And it's Happy Veterans Day! Today on November 11th, 11/11. And so, a lot of news to talk about going on right now. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she is literally being sacrificed by the left. They're just sacrificing this poor old woman. I could talk about that, and how they're lying about her. They're lying and saying, "Oh, I'll give you my ribs." No, there's no such thing as a rib transplant. That's not a thing. That's just liberals lying and pressuring this poor old woman to torture herself for at least 2 more years, hoping that the orange Nazi KKK Russian spy orc from Mordor that they've made up in their mind. You get where I'm going with it. And it's just evil to do that to that old woman. We're not going to talk about that. I could talk about how this Jim Acosta thing has really snowballed into something quite extraordinary. And it now involves InfoWars and a doctored video. And everybody's having quite the meltdown over this, including InfoWars. InfoWars is having quite the meltdown over this. I'm going to put that in the category of hype. Whatever. I don't care. Little PJW in your little video. Oh, he's so cute, isn't he? I'm not going to talk about that. Nope. It's Veterans Day, and I'm going to give you veterans what you want. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story of a young lad who traveled to Chapel Hill Saturday night to confront Antifas and wound up being assaulted and attacked. Spoiler alert, the guy who did the attacking, who was charged with simple assault, was Daniel Nacy Meltzer. Member of Antifa. Proud member of Antifa. Had a hip and cool and trendy Antifa scarf and everything. And the guy that was attacked was none other than Cody Gall. From Breakfast with Cody Gall. I'm okay. So, chatter was picked up on the interwebs. They being this little core criminal group, were going to attack the Jefferson Davis marker, which is just this memorial thing for the one and only president of the Confederate States of America. And I just want to make it clear that I'm not like some Confederacy buff. And so I do believe that the Confederacy and the Confederate flag never represented white supremacy, and that is just a fairy tale, and that a lot of these monuments are monuments to dead people, like Silent Sam. But at the same time, I do kind of see the Confederacy as a very dark chapter in American history that is associated with slavery. It wasn't because of slavery, but it was because of states' rights over the growing power of the federal government. But slavery was an issue, and it was a very dark chapter in American history. And I can understand why people might want to take these statues down and take these monuments down. But I don't agree with some big giant global mafia using little twerps like Alexander Soros to fund a giant criminal organization to normalize civil unrest in our country as part of a big giant purple revolution. And just because all of the members of Antifa and the general public is like oblivious to that's what's going on, doesn't mean that that's not what's going on. So that, yeah, I'm going to stand up against that. Yeah, I'm going to say, nope, not so much. So anyway, chatter was picked up. So the way that these guys do what they do is it's all about these big giant banners. So they hide, first of all, they get a bunch of essentially human shields to show up. So there'll be a little core group that says we're going to commit this illegal activity. Then through loose associations, there's a bunch of political activists who then put together some political thing, and then they'll get popular people to then retweet it, and then a bunch of people show up. And so the political activists are only loosely associated with the criminal activity, and then the popular people are even less associated with the criminal activity. So there's plausible deniability to go around, and then the majority of the people who show up are just random people from the public. All of this is all a cover for justifying bringing big, giant, huge banners out in the public. And then whipping people up into a frenzy to think that white supremacy and fascism are getting people killed. And that if you don't stand up against white supremacy and fascism, you're a murderer. That's literally what they're trying to do with a big, giant banner. And then more and more people show up throughout the evening. There'll be a scheduled time when it's supposed to start. But then right before it's about to end, right when everyone's all whipped up into a frenzy, a bunch of like thugs show up with more banners. And then they use these banners to sneak around right out in the open with sledgehammers and chains and things. And so it would be a little odd to just walk down the street with a sledgehammer, but they've got it wrapped up in these big banners. And it's okay to have the banner because of the event. And then they say, we're going to go and protest some symbol of white supremacy. And then they cover it up with a banner, and then they do their and then they destroy it behind the banner. And then oftentimes they'll move the banner really quick when the thing's right about to come down so they can get that photo op. But most of what they're doing, the prep work, is done behind a banner, and the tools are snuck in with a banner. And so Saturday, there was a vigil for the victims of the Pittsburgh mass shooting with a big giant banner that said anti-fascism. So nobody walking by or driving by would have thought it was vigil for anything. They would have thought it was a protest against fascism. And it's so mind-numbing that all of these Antifa guys, not all, but almost all, are pro-communism and have hammers and sickles all over their social media. Communism is not real. It doesn't exist. Communism is just a sales pitch to bring in, wait for it, fascism. There's no definition of fascism that doesn't apply to what the communist Chinese regime is doing right now. You might as well call it the fascist Chinese regime, because that's what it is. They have literally killed like 80 million people, regardless of politics. They've killed 80 million people. That you cannot say that they haven't killed 80 million people because they've killed 80 million people. And Antifa is just like, yay, kill those innocent people. And that's what good is. And so they're literally pro-communism and anti-fascism when communism is fascism. So they're both pro-fascism and anti-fascism at the same time. I mean, that is just like... So anyway, I'm running out of time. So one thing led to another, and I got attacked. And the other guy got charged with simple assault. And so there'll be a court date where I'll get to have all kinds of fun with old Danny boy. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for watching.